Good morning, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to our weekly market update, the first one for a couple of weeks with some public holiday Mondays and things getting in the way. So we might give you a bit of an update on what's been happening over the last 2 or 3 weeks as far as activity goes, mainly. We've had a few community events and things we've been involved in as well, but probably what most of you want to know is what the market's like. So what's happening in property management at the moment?
Lots. So we've had a bit of a leasing blitz, I think 6 in the last week.
Yep.
So we're down to 6 online at the moment.
Yes.
Still consistently doing appraisals, which means people are still looking at moving towards that in the future. But it looks like the vacancy rates are lowering significantly.
Yep.
Interest, like demand, is increasing,
Yep.
which is great news for us. And stock is decreasing.
Yep.
So I think we figured this would happen at some point this part of the year.
Interesting. That realestate.com report that we had last week, reading that, it shows exactly that too.
Yep.
In Tassie, the inquiries per listing were up like nearly double on this time last year, and the actual amount of properties that have come up for rent are down like a third. So it means there's like plenty of people looking and not enough properties coming into the market right across the state, which supply and demand equals what happens next.
We get a big surge in prices.
Yeah, potentially. So we've had 2 years really now where rents have been stable.
Pretty steady,
pretty stable, where a lot of people have renewed leases and stayed at the similar rent sort of range a lot of the time. Where we're likely to see with that supply and demand this time around, it might be a $10, $20, $30 increases starting to come back in, because partly it's probably because there hasn't been the growth for a couple of years, but I think mostly it's due to that supply and demand. And do you think that's mostly through people not moving? Because I'm not sure if it's the rental properties have been sold off and people are not buying investments, or if it's mostly people just electing to stay in their house rather than move.
I think so. And I think because prices even though they've been steady for the last 2 years, they did increase quite significantly before that. So I think it's a case of somebody being like, well, I don't know what the market's going to do. Well, a lot of people being like, I don't know what the market's going to do moving forward. And they see these rental properties now pop up for more than what they thought it would be a couple of years ago. And so they're like, I'll just stay where I am. At least it's, better the devil you know, I guess.
It's interesting in that report that the cost of a house in Tassie has gone up around 114% over 10 years.
Gosh.
And the rents for a house have gone up 60% only. So rents have gone up a lot less than the cost of buying something.
We are actually seeing at the moment too that we've got landlords that had previously been a little bit apprehensive to increase the rent because they want to keep a tenant in there.
Yes.
Which we've always advised. It's better to do it that way. But they're just at the point now where they need to increase it. They need to increase it a little bit more than what they feel comfortable doing it. Because everything's increasing so much.
Yeah, the other thing that was interesting in that report was units, though. A rent for a unit has only actually gone up 20% across Tassie in 10 years.
Gosh.
But houses have gone up 60%.
Units are high turnover, so I wonder if that's got...
It's interesting, And, some interesting numbers there. But, definitely, like it used to be a yield of around 5.5%, 6%. A decade ago, and now it's sort of around that 4.5%. So it's sort of shifted quite dramatically.
It has, and the shift was very quick. We only just started to experience it. It just sort of came out.
So might be a bit of a tougher time for tenants again the next 6 months looking at those numbers. So
it has been good to help. Obviously, the housing crisis with affordability wise, it's been good to be able to contribute to getting some people in some homes, but
definitely
it will last.
But if we were sitting here a year ago, we were 13 or 20 available, and lots of that sort of
price decreases. Now we get multiple applications. 62 Rose Road, which should be approved this week. I think there were like 13 applications on that, and last time that came out, maybe 4 or 5.
Okay. So do we have much available?
6.
Okay.
6 available, and one of those, Rose Road, should be leased this week. So a couple in the pipeline, but nowhere near what we have been experiencing in the last couple of weeks, where we know that there's a constant 2 or 3 coming up. Still people, like I said, appraisals are still happening quite consistently. But it's them trying to figure out if the sales market's
Yeah.
going to be better
Yeah.
for them than the rental market. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of sales and rental appraisals happening at the same time
Yeah.
as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sales market has been fairly busy. We've had a reasonable amount of offers over the last 2 or 3 weeks. It's been pretty consistent.
Some of them had a quick turnaround by the looks of it as well.
Yeah, yep, still getting pretty good results in the first fortnight for a lot of properties. We've had a couple of big open weekends. I think we had maybe 14 this weekend, 20 last weekend. So, and there'll be a reasonable amount this weekend coming as well. So, seeing lots of groups of buyers out and about out there. Yeah, so it's a mixture from property to property from attendances. So certainly some have had good, really strong numbers. Some haven't had any. So it's a sort of mixture there. But yeah, definitely a lot of buyers watching the market. So some of the properties are getting quite a bit of immediate interest when they're first going up, which means, and the views are really strong in the back end. So a lot of people are looking at properties, just only acting if they see it represents value still, but feeling like it's a little bit more buoyant over the last couple of weeks. I think it's traditionally February, March is a little bit better after the kids go back to school. So we're expecting
normalcy,
so probably a good little run, and then we've got obviously Easter, Anzac Day, and an election after that. So not sure what that time of year will bring in a few weeks' time, but at the moment it's certainly quite active. So I think that's probably all for today. Hung you all up for a bit. So good to see everybody tuning in again. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week. I don't think we've got any public holidays next week, so we'll see you next week again. Thanks for tuning in.